Hello and welcome back, everyone, to our next playthrough on Rocket Rabbit Commentaries, a Konami game. Well, clearly, we're playing a Castlevania game, right?
Konami. No, we're gonna go play the slots.
Oh no, that's a Yu-Gi-Oh card back.
That's a Yu-Gi-Oh card back, and on the back of it is just another Yu-Gi-Oh card back.
Welcome, everyone, to Yu-Gi-Oh Forbidden Memories. I have been foreshadowing this particular playthrough for fucking ever. And, okay, there's a couple of things I need to get off my chest. Firstly, we are not playing the original version of Forbidden Memories, because the original version of Forbidden Memories is too goddamn grindy. So, as I enter into our Gerdat name here, because I am the one playing this, I need to explain what everything is going on here. Firstly, although it says Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories, you can consider this a playthrough of Forbidden Memories 15 drop, which means that after every duel, we'll, instead of receiving a single card for a victory, we'll be receiving 15 cards.
Right.
The reason why I'm doing this is very specifically because of the fact that you're only allowed to receive one card a duel under the normal game. It takes an additional 6 to 8 hours of grinding off of 2 fucking people in order to get to the end game. This cuts that down to about an hour.
And it's still like a 3-hour long playthrough.
Let's see. We're going to 13, right? Let me see. Yeah, 13. Which, that's just over 3 hours.
Stop, my prince!
That was Simon. Simon is awesome.
Simon says, car shop.
First thing that we're doing is checking our deck to make sure that our deck is actually worthwhile.
Hello
it
there.
isn't, but it's a starter deck, so let's see.
I am the shop owner.
We did get Skull Servant, which is okay.
These are my
We
wares.
got Key Mace. We got
Jailbird.
Embryonic Beast. This is the most important card in our deck, though, the One-Eyed Shield Dragon. Also, we got a copy of Regeki. We got Super Lucky.
Destroy
And we even started with
every
Yumi.
monster with an opposing threshold. Or something. Rolls
Yay!
along the
We
ground.
started with a dragon and a thunder, so we're already significantly of the way through chapter 2.
Surely,
And
because
sadly,
we
Orban
are a
Guard
prince, we have
was our
lots
big
of
stat
money.
drop. Yes, as past Gerdat
And
noticed.
a thunder.
Well, past Gerdat's not
When the
very good at typing.
When the clouds are angry and hangry, they get thungry.
Well, that's the gimmick behind Morpico, but yeah. All right. So to get the duel, to get Simon Amorin into your free duel, you have to come back to the palace immediately after leaving. Because if you come back after a specific event happens down at the duel arena, Simon will just drag you to your room. Now, the plot for this game: we are Prince Atem. No, seriously, that's who we are. We are Prince Atem, and it is our job to attempt to save the world. We're going to start off our duel against Simon pretty much by playing a normal game of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Everybody wants to rule the world.
So, Cloud, what kind of experience do you have with any of the PS1 / Game Boy Color Yu-Gi-Oh games?
Well, Game Boy Color, I had Duelist, Eternal Duelist Soul, World Championship 2004,
GBA.
going to Game Boy Advance. I think, actually, come to think of it, I think it was more Game Boy Advance games that I was prone to playing than Game Boy Color. Though I was aware of a Game Boy Color release. By the time I realized it, I realized that the graphics were much better and the card pool had been more expanded.
Yes, here we were going to show off our first of many different 3D duels. In order to initiate a 3D duel with a monster, you have to have a monster on your side of the board, and a monster on the opponent's side of the board. You have to select your monster, and then as you're declaring your attack, you hit the square button instead of the normal X button. This allows you to see these 3D models of monsters attacking each other.
Destroy
No, grounding
the
tackle is not
sword.
the official name of Mega Thunderball's attack. I don't actually know what the official name for Mega Thunderball's attack is, but you know, I decided to have a little bit of fun with the editing and have every monster have a different attack name depending on their Guardian Star. Yes, the Guardian Stars is a system of boosts and nerfs that apply during combat. There's an entire chart for them, but the big ones that you'll need to know are Mercury beats Sun, Sun beats Moon, and Pluto beats Neptune.
Oh, I see them now. I guess
like
they thought...
much like the Dark Dual Stories games on the Game Boy Color, of which we only got one over in the West, the Guardian Star system makes combat slightly more interesting. But unlike in the Dark Dual Stories series, the Guardian Star system isn't what defines this game. What defines this game specifically is the amount of grindy bullshit that happens at the very end.
But not necessarily the rock, paper, scissors fight mechanics that make this game nuanced and unique.
Right. The rock, paper, scissors mechanic is here, but it's much less potent than it's supposed to be, because in the Dark Dual Stories series, the rock, paper, scissors mechanic defines the gameplay. Like if you can actually get, is it dreams? I think it's dreams specifically. If you manage to land a dreams high attack power monster in the original Dark Dual Stories series, you can sit on that monster for pretty much the entire game.
Nice.
Because
just like
although they're weak,
dice monsters,
they are specifically weak to a particular type of monster, in that the rock, paper, scissors mechanic immediately destroys them. That particular type of monster is so very rare that it doesn't honestly matter. What we're doing here specifically is showing off what the 15 card drop does. It makes it so that we get, as I've already mentioned, it makes it so that we get 15 cards at the end of it, at the end of every duel. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend a little bit of time between each duel showing off what our deck looks like. Sorry, Karibo, I had to take you out, and doing small edits to it so our deck could be just slightly better. Should have put in Torike over Gate Deek, but oh well.
Just slightly better.
Yes.
And the rest of the game follows the normal rules of Yu-Gi-Oh! If it has more than 4 stars, then you have to sacrifice a creature in order to put it on the board. If it has 7 or more, you have to sacrifice 2 creatures to put it on the board.
No, not at all. Okay, so I should at this point explain why Dark Dual Stories is actually an interesting series. Dark Dual Stories is an interesting series because it attempts to take a lot of the mechanics of the original Yu-Gi-Oh game, which weren't actually defined yet, and actually have them, be relevant. The thing is, Forbidden Memories is technically designed immediately after the second Dark Dual Stories game. It doesn't come out until after the third. It doesn't come out in the West until after the third one. But yeah, so the rock, paper, scissors mechanic is here, but so is a card fusion mechanic that we've not actually shown off yet, but I'll be showing off shortly later. I'll be showing off shortly.
The card fusions.
Now, the card fusion mechanic technically does originate in the older Dark Dual Stories games. Go, Droll Board! Triangle Whale!
Triangular attack
compels you! Boof. I actually really like the 3D battles in this game. I know that they're mostly a gimmick, but I don't care. They're actually relatively cool, especially with particular fire monsters attacks. The particle effects that fire monsters get specifically are really fucking cool. But going back to your question about power levels of monsters, no, the number of stars on a monster does not indicate how many sacrifices you need to make in order to play it, which is what makes our endgame deck significantly better than what it's supposed to be.
So
do we have any Venus? We do not.
So
have
how
Venus.
do the level stars enter into it if they don't affect how you could summon the monster?
They don't at all, for any fucking reason. The level of your monsters is totally fucking irrelevant in this game.
Yeah, I just watched two, not just one, but 2 arbitrary fusions.
Not arbitrary, actually. Contrary to newcomer belief, Forbidden Memories actually has a very dedicated fusion table, and it's very, very locked in. However, it tends to bend the rules on its own locked-in shit from time to time, and it can be very aggravating when it does that. Yay, we got Garvis.
Sure. Pluto.
Now, I know it looks like I'm doing a lot of complicated things, but to be perfectly honest, once you've got most of the fusion table memorized, the game is really goddamn easy up to a certain point. And the only reason it gets any harder at that particular point is strictly because, well, you're forced to have a very, very specific deck towards the end of the game.
Yeah, this is Yu-Gi-Oh! Well ahead of the curve, where they realize that players really should just be able to start a hand every turn with 5 cards, and also have lots of moves all the fucking time. Sweep the board with creatures. Win games.
Except you're only allowed to play 1 card at a time.
And with turns this fast, that's no problem.
Hello, Villager 1. No, he doesn't have a name. He's just Villager 1.
What? But I haven't... Well, that was your chance to go back to the card shop, I guess.
No, actually. I have to stay in the duel ground for the next 3 duels in order to get everyone unlocked in free duel.
Okay, so we've covered the arbitrary, maybe not arbitrary, although arbitration would suggest some kind of unfairness, except that this game has a right to have its own nuanced little hidden thing that apparently has a learning curve of several hours, especially if you're just starting this game out, and you probably wouldn't be aware that some very ordinary cards in your hand actually hold some rather sophisticated plays. That's one thing. The other thing is that it shits on the rules of Yu-Gi-Oh! In as much as that it doesn't have restrictions on what you can play. So you start out with garbage at the early game, and then eventually you get the more powerful cards, and the more powerful cards just go in just like the turning hand of a clock, because there's no restrictions except that you have to get them first. Oh yeah, and this crap, you could just refresh your hand every time. Broken.
Honestly, the game doesn't work without the ability to refresh your hand, especially at the end of the game.
At the beginning of your upkeep, draw X, where X is the number of cards in your hand minus 5. Where X is 5 minus the number of cards in your hand.
Yep.
Fuck.
Hello, Mons Turtle. He looks very spiky today.
So my buddy had Forbidden Memories for the PS1, but I only ever saw him play it maybe like once, and it wasn't a very particularly memorable experience.
Whoosh!
Spike, shell, slam.
Thank you, Mons Turtle. You killed us a steel scorpion.
But now that the steel scorpion has inflicted damage on the Mons Turtle will die at the rising of the 5th day when we watch to the north for Gandalf's coming.
1, that's Zone Eater that you're thinking of, and 2, haha, you actually think monsters have effects in this game. That's cute.
Yeah. Yeah, I figured as much. I was noticing a lot of vanilla cards. See, the Mystic Lamp is not actually a vanilla. It has the ability that says it can attack your opponent directly, even if your opponent has creatures that it can block with.
In the normal game, yes. Not here. Every single monster in this game is completely vanilla.
Every last one.
Yup.
So, where they gouged out some aspects, they replaced it with aspects that deviate from the core gameplay. Interesting.
Well, the whole reason why everything is vanilla in this game is because the developers didn't know how the fuck to actually put in the effects.
Christ.
And we know this because the big thing that brings Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories back to light nowadays is the fact that the modding community is fucking amazing for it. And the modding community specifically has implemented monster effects and the original triangle system back into the game. Seriously, if you're interested in Forbidden Memories, there's a modding community out there for you, and it is amazing. And in the next part, we will continue on playing Vanilla Forbidden Memories 15 card drop, because, again, I'm skipping the goddamn grind.
No, I've been standing here for quite some time, everybody.